Welcome everyone. It is 3 p.m. and it's time for the Server Room Show. This is episode 62. Today I will talk about the Solarwinds hack and its aftermath and what does it mean to the industry. What is Solarwinds? First of all, Solarwinds is a multinational company with over 3,000 employees and around 300,000 clients worldwide. These details are from 2020, around November, so it's last year Q4 figures. It's a major IT firm that provides software for entities ranging from the Fortune 500 companies up to the levels of the US government. SolarWinds' main product, called the Orion Platform, is a powerful, scalable infrastructure monitoring and management platform designed to simplify IT administration for on-premises, hybrid, and software as a service environments, and give it to you in a single pane of glass kind of feature. If you are looking at my screen, you can see, and in the show notes you can see an example of this single pane of glass. You can have an overview of topology. For example, you can see alarms and errors immediately, all kinds of statistics regarding utilization, the managed nodes, the list of the VLANs, for example. It's a big and powerful monitoring platform, and it's very widely used throughout in the industry. If you just look at those figures, as I mentioned, the 3,000 employees, maybe it doesn't strike you immediately as something big, but 3,000 employees is quite a nice number. But another number I mentioned, the 300,000 clients worldwide, that's indeed a big number. And most of them, like I mentioned, they are big players, Fortune 500 companies, and also government entities. SolarWinds, and what happened with SolarWinds, why it ended up in the news not so long ago, was thanks to various factors, and we'll mention those, and we will mention the lack of action, or the lack of paying attention. Most probably these people didn't see, like the Security 101 episode where we dealt with proper password management and backups and audit and access control and all this. So to sum it all up, what happened is SolarWinds got hacked in a way that there were two separate attacks. One got named sunburst and another one got named Supernova attack. They are different because even though their end goal was similar, they were done by two different groups, and that's why they are treated separately and not as one. The first incident was labeled sunburst. They call it the most serious cyber attack against an enterprise software giant ever. Reuters first reported that SolarWinds was the subject of a massive cybersecurity attack that spread to the company's clients. The breach went undetected for months and could have exposed data in the highest reaches of government, including the US military and the White House. As always, US officials think it was the Russians behind it, and I can only smile about this because are not the Russians behind everything? And the funny is that do we have enough Russians to be behind everything? It's a smiley face on the end of the sentence. I think that in this case, if they were just to follow and listen to some basic principles and voices which were telling them to please pay attention to certain things we will mention further down the episode. I think this hack or this attack could have been avoided, and then you wouldn't need to blame the Russians. One of the most serious part of this attack is that first of all, no one wishes this kind of damage to any company. Any sane person wouldn't wish this kind of damage to happen to any company, no matter if it's your competitor or not. The seriousness comes that if your company is being breached or hacked into this scale, then that is one thing. But if you put next to it that through this attack, this company's clients were hacked or suffered as well, so to say, that's now a serious problem, because to say it like this, someone else through you, or because of the lack of preparedness of you, someone else got hurt, a third party got hurt, and these clients based their trust in Solarwinds and in its recommendations most of the time, and you will see that they also had some quite interesting recommendations, which I'm not sure how company could do at all. Whoever was or were behind this hack were able to use it to spy on private companies like the elite cybersecurity firm FireEye and the US government, including the Department of Homeland Security and Treasury Department. Earlier in 2020, hackers secretly broke into Texas-based Solarwinds systems and added malicious code into the company's software system, or its supply chain, as they refer to this kind of this pipeline, or this part of the production chain. The system called Orion, which is widely used by companies to manage IT resources. Solarwinds has 33,000 customers that use Orion, particularly last year's figures. Most software providers regularly send out updates to their systems, whether it's fixing a bug or adding new features. Solarwinds is no exception to that. Beginning as early as March, Solarwinds unwittingly sent out software updates to its customers that included the hacked or compromised code, where the malicious content was injected. The code created a backdoor to customers' information technology systems, which hackers then used to install even more malware that helped them spy on companies and organizations. The attack used a backdoor in a Solarwinds library. When an update to Solarwinds occurred, the malicious attack would go unnoticed due to the trusted certificates used in place. In November 2019, a security researcher notified Solarwinds that their FTP server had a weak password of Solarwinds 123, warning that any hacker could upload malicious files or content, therefore, to this FTP server, and then that would then be distributed to Solarwinds customers. So, as early as 2019, Solarwinds was informed by security researcher some even say that back in 2018, but some reports dates it to 2019. SolarWinds was notified that, look guys, you have a very weak password, SolarWinds 123, to one of your FTP servers, which is part of the update distribution system. And imagine the scenario if someone was to insert some bad or malicious content here, that then would be distributed to SolarWinds customers, and this is exactly what happened. SolarWinds was notified about it, and if it still happened as it did, then it means that they probably didn't listen to the report of the security researchers or researcher, because if they did, then this vulnerability would have been avoided or patched immediately. And immediately is something which will have importance just a little further down. The New York Times reported SolarWinds did not employ a chief information security officer, I think as of until this attack at least, and that also employee passwords had been posted on GitHub in 2019. Other sources, however, estimates that this leak of employee passwords, including the FTP weak password, was leaked through GitHub public repos of SolarWinds, was going on since 2018. So both the leaked FTP credentials and the weak FTP password, these were part of SolarWinds GitHub repository. Many says it was going on since 2018. Some report says that since 2019 this was sitting on GitHub, and anyone could have seen that the FTP password, the username and password were weak, and the password of SolarWinds 123, and this is exactly like I mentioned. SolarWinds was notified about it back in 2019 by this security researcher called Vinodkumar. He told this to the company, and it seems that the company absolutely did nothing about it, and I think it's just a major negligence on their part, because through them or through their negligence, other people got hurt, and damage had been caused, and it is not good. It is not good behavior when some security researchers report you something and you don't even take the time to look at it. Maybe because you are too big of a company, you have too much money, maybe you are too proud yourself, but hey, look where it all ended up. On December the 15th, 2020, SolarWinds reported the breach to the Securities and Exchange Commission. However, SolarWinds continued to distribute malware-infected updates and did not immediately revoke the compromised digital certificate, which was used to sign them. This is where the part I mentioned, immediately taking action, would come into play. They reported this on the 15th of December 2020. Why did not they take immediate action? Why did they let the compromise certificates being still in place? Why did not they revoke it immediately? On December the 16th, 2020, German IT news portal heise.de reported that SolarWinds had for some time been encouraging customers to disable anti-malware tools like I think we mean Antimalware and antivirus software before installing SolarWinds products. This is another interesting piece of information, because I think myself as an IT professional, I I tell many times to my clients or my customers that the moment I advise them one thing or another, I have to be very careful what I'm advising, because when these people come to you or look at you for a recommendation or an answer to their question, your response carries responsibility. And if I were to tell my customers that no, do not use antivirus or anti-malware on your computer, and as a result something bad happens afterwards, then I think that it would be pretty much on point to blame me, because they asked me, they asked my guidance on that, my knowledge, my experience, and the information I gave them was not correct, and something bad happened. And I think a company like SolarWinds, I don't know how they could encourage or advise their customers like this. Why don't they make sure that those anti-malware and antivirus softwares not detecting SolarWinds and SolarWinds tools incorrectly, not blocking them or not making them hard to install or impossible to install? A company like SolarWinds, I think, because of the size of it and the connections, I think SolarWinds could go to certain anti-malware and antivirus software companies, maybe just the 3 biggest one. I'm not saying they have to discuss this with or report this to every single little anti-malware and antivirus software shop out there, but go to the 3 main ones, tell them, look guys, what can we do? What do you need? What digital footprint or digital certification, or what do you need from us, from our software, to make your antivirus or anti-malware software not to detect us or block us as bad software, not to flag us as bad software, and work with those 2 or 3 main ones. And when your customer comes and asks you, you can tell them, look, I cannot tell you about these 25 products out there on the market, but I can tell you that these three will not give you a problem with using side by side with my product. And I think that they could have taken the time and the money and the effort to work with at least 2 or 3 of these main anti-malware and antivirus companies, work with them, make sure that your product is detected as a non-bad product, not a virus or not a malware, instead of advising your customers not to install anti-malware and antivirus softwares. That's again just my opinion, and I think that this kind of behavior is as bad as using a weak password like SolarWinds 123 and not revoking the certificate immediately once the breach has been detected and reported, but they let it to continue up until the 17th of December 2020, from the 15th to the 17th. So it's, I would say, 2 full days at least. They keep the certificate alive. It was not revoked, these compromised certificates, and actually, my mistake, sorry, they said on the 17th of December that they would revoke the compromised certificates by the 21st. So, reporting the incident on the 15th, not revoking the certificates immediately, on the 17th saying that by the 21st you will revoke them, then sorry, it's from the 15th until the 21st. So, pretty much 6 days of lead. It's like 6 days, 5 working days. It's a week. I'm sorry. They should have acted immediately. Another big mistake on SolarWinds end. Then the Supernova attack. On December the 19th, 2020, Microsoft said that its investigation into the supply chain attack at SolarWinds had found evidence of an attempted supply chain attack distinct from the attack in which sunburst malware was inserted into Orion binaries. See the previous section we just discussed a second ago. And this second attack has been dubbed Supernova. And they figured out that it had to be another group of individuals or individual who committed this attack, so to say, to the supply chain of SolarWinds, because they are not connected one to another. Security researchers from Palo Alto Networks said that Supernova malware was implemented stealthily. Supernova compromises a very small number of changes to the Orion source code, implementing a web shell that acts as a remote access tool. The shell is assembled in memory during Supernova execution, thus minimizing its forensic footprint. Unlike Sunburst, Supernova does not possess a digital signature. This is among the reasons why it is thought to have originated with a different group than the one responsible for the Sunburst attack or hack. Also, insider trading investigation. SolarWinds' share price fell 25% within days of the Sunburst breach, becoming public knowledge, and 40% within a week. Insiders at the company had sold approximately 280 million US dollars worth of stock shortly before this information became publicly known, which was months after the attack had started. A spokesperson said that those who sold the stock had not been aware of the breach at the time. I'm not sure I believe this. Just a good opportunity for some other companies. Microsoft Azure here. And for example, a Spanish startup called Artica sums about 40 workers and around 400 clients, which has its own product in the systems monitoring market. Many of SolarWinds clients are looking for alternatives, and they want a way out after all of this, and even before that. And they are looking at alternative offers like Artica's monitoring solution. My only problem there that it's nothing else than, again, another customized Pandora FMS. So not a unique product on its own, a Pandora FMS core with additional add-ons and whatnot. Trying to avoid a similar issue to happen, that's what clients trying to do by running to either startups like Artica or to many other competitors, not that Artica, or actually their other method to avoid any issue similar to this in the future is to move to the cloud like Microsoft Azure. Probably it will offer me a great opportunity for many of probably it offers a great opportunity for many of SolarWinds competitors, including OpenNMS, whose founder and chief executive officer Tarus Balog will have a sit down with me and chat amongst other things of this particular event regarding SolarWinds as well. It's gonna be on the next episode 63 of the Server Room Show. Actually, Tarus Balog is he's the, let's say, the lead developer. Actually, he's not the lead developer. Many of the information regarding him on the Wikipedia is not very correct. Actually, I did make the interview with him. It's already done. I can tell you that it's going to be a 2-part episode because it's an hour and a half of interviews. So it's going to be 2 45-minute blocks. And I think it has been very interesting to talk to Tarus, and he's a great guy. OpenNMS is a very good product. It can do the same SolarWinds does, and it's a very robust product. And it's not a copy of anything else. It's not a Pandora FMS clone or uh, someone's idea redressed or putting in new clothes and shape. It's their unique product, and it's a great product, and they have some great clients. And if you listen to the interview in episode 63 and 64, I think you will really like it. Some examples of bad behavior in the SolarWinds story, just to recap quickly. Weak passwords anywhere. SolarWinds FTP password SolarWinds123. Telling users not to use anti-malware and antivirus kind of softwares, which eventually I'm sure that it made SolarWinds responsible one way or another, because they were advising their own clients and own customers, which I think you have to always be careful what to tell to your clients, because they depend on you. They expect you to lead by example and give them a correct answer and the proper answer. Not listening and following up when security researchers find and tell vulnerabilities and problems with your company, your code, your security around your product. I think you cannot be too busy, too rich, too arrogant, perhaps to turn these people down, because eventually they are doing you a favor and saving. If anything happens, they save you a lot of money and embarrassment. Not revoking the compromise certificates immediately, I think it's a very big bad flag, red flag. Not employing a chief information security officer in a company of a size of SolarWinds and the magnitude its clients and its reach to Fortune 500 and up to government entities. I think it's not good. I would expect that government entities, before contracting a piece of software or a piece of service from a company, like in this case SolarWinds, I would think that they vet these companies, and I would think that certain workflows and requirements are in place, and I would expect the company I want to work with in this level of government entities, I would expect that company has a chief information security officer and certain security responsibilities that oh guys, please make sure that your password is not SolarWinds123 and something among those lines. Another thing, a few things to keep in mind: anything can be compromised and nothing is safe as 100%. Many times bad security practices help hackers to gain access easier than we would imagine. The stuck your head in the sand approach do not work ever. I hope everyone finally learned that one. Do not advise something to your clients you might not be doing yourself. Thank you very much. That was all for this episode. As I did mention, the next episode, 63 and 64, more than certain will be the two episodes in a two-part episode. The interview I did with Tarus Balog, who is the main man for OpenNMS group, and listen to the interview where he specifies what exactly he's doing and why those Wikipedia entries are bad on him. And as you see, I like doing these interview things, and I want to think that I'm getting better in it. However, I need people to interview, and as long as it's around the IT field, one way or another, I would love to see people coming forward, or people, if you know someone, feel free to recommend me to them or them to me. Reach out to an email or share my contact details with anyone you think he or she would be a good fit for an interview. You see, at the previous interviews I did, and as long as we can somehow tie the content around IT and the IT field, I think those interviews could be beneficial for everyone. Thank you very much, and see you next Saturday.